Let's move on to Guardians Yankees game 2. Yankees handled business in game 1. Josh Donaldson almost had a home run, but wasn't a home run. That was weird. The Yankees bullpen shut the door. There were questions about their bullpen coming into that game. Garrett Cole out a home run early, and I thought all hell was going to break loose for him, but it didn't. Anywho, the off day, and Anthony brought this up last week, and it was a great point. The off day built in for the American League maybe helped a Francona or a Boone to be a little more aggressive, to go to the bullpen and use some arms. And as it turns out, no one was really overworked, if I remember correctly. So here we are after an off day. Yankees Guardians, Yankees at home. They're the favorite. Zerillo, it's already out there. You've been on the Yankees, and the price hasn't moved all that much that you still like it today as we sit here now.
Definitely the full game line hasn't really moved at all. The first 5 line, though, has started to tick up about 10 cents, which does give me a little bit more confidence than if it had just stayed where it was. There is a macro risk for the Guardians in the series, and it just comes down to the power differential between these two teams. The Yankees doubled their home runs this season, exactly double the number of home runs. And since 2016, teams who out-homered their opponents in playoff games have a 163 and 34 record. That is an 82.7% win rate. Also 7-4 this postseason. Guardians rely on singles, second in MLB in singles, and base advancements because they're 4th in base running value. The Yankees were the number 1 defensive team. They steal hits and they prevent you from taking extra bases. So it is difficult on paper to find ways that the Guardians score runs in this series. More specific to game 3, though, the Guardians are going against the left-handed pitcher, and they were an above average offense against right-handed pitching, 4% better than league average, 11th overall, but they were 16% below average against lefties, 27th overall, 29th in slugging percentage, 30th in isolated power. And in a vacuum, I would take Nestor Cortes over Shane Bieber. 2.7 expected ERA for Nestor, 3.5 for Bieber. Bieber's fastball velocity down 3 ticks this season relative to his Cy Young campaign in 2020. That shortened Cy Young season where I believe he made about 12 starts. As a result, he changed his pitch mix. He changed his plan of attack. He had a career low walk rate, roughly halved his walk rate relative to previous seasons, but he's in the zone much more now. And with lesser stuff being in the zone more, you're more likely to get hit and give up hard contact. He had a relatively high hard contact rate this season. He has a good defense behind him, which prevented a lot of that damage, which is why you see his expected ERA higher than his actual ERA. The Yankees aren't particularly aggressive, second lowest swing rate, and they do sell out for power. They have a bottom 10 contact percentage, but they are not going to chase pitches outside of the zone as much as the Rays did, and they do excel against either cutters or sliders. I forget which one. They do have a higher run value against one of those pitches. So Bieber, with 2 of his key pitches, the cutter and the slider, since he's pulled off of his curveball usage this year, they may have success against one of those pitches. Can't remember offhand which one it is, and the other one is below average. But I do like this matchup for the Yankees offense, especially compared to how I viewed the Guardians offense against Bieber. And I definitely think there's substantial value on the Yankees in both halves, particularly for the first 5 innings, though. I made that first 5 line minus 190, made the full game line closer to minus 160. I know I said I had different price targets yesterday. I've actually moved some things around and increased these further. So the Yankees first 5 up to minus 175 and the full game line up to minus 146. Probably my 2 favorite bets this postseason, particularly that first 5 line, though. There's a very substantial edge there at around minus 140. It's still close to a 7-8% edge. So about as big of a projection edge as I will find throughout the season, throughout the postseason. Definitely love the Yankees here in the first 5 innings.
I think this is kind of similar to game 1 in that the starting pitcher for the Yankees' biggest flaw has been the long ball, and the Guardians are not able to take advantage of that. They did get one. Stephen Kwan, short porch merchant. I wonder how many home runs he'd hit if he played a full season at Yankee Stadium. I think we joked about merchant. That.
I love that.
But
so good.
But Cortes in the past, he's fixed it a little bit this year, but the projections suggest that he's going to have home run problems in the long run. And he gave out 1.35 homers per 9 last year. He's lowered that this year, but still the Guardians are the one lineup, maybe in all the baseball, that I would suggest is not going to take advantage of that. Sean mentioned it. 30th in isolated power, 29th in slugging against lefties, 27th weighted runs created plus. I mean, there's nothing else to say. This is a terrible offense. Not just terrible for the playoffs, just terrible. And Shane Bieber, you look at the pitching matchup here, Pitching plus has Shane Bieber as a 99.3. 100 is considered average. His stuff plus is 90. That's a clear drop off from years past. That's why his strikeout rate is 8% lower this year than it was last year. I know Bieber's played in front of a great defense, similar to Cal Quantrill. He's overperformed his metrics because of it. The Guardians seem to just always know how to get their pitchers to do this. So credit to them as an org, but just like we made money fading Quantrill on the first game, we're going to hopefully make money fading Bieber in the second game. Nestor Cortez, 104 pitching plus, so a little bit better. His command numbers are actually better than Bieber's, and his stuff plus is a little bit higher, still below average, but 94 stuff plus for Cortez. So the better starting pitcher, the better lineup at home. I like the Yankees. Minus 135s are out there, like minus 140 as well.
Should say the Yankees, just to clarify, second against sliders, 22nd against cutters, but also top 5 against fastballs. So I think overall that matches up pretty well against Bieber.
And Cortez is great at inducing weak contact with the cutter that he throws. The Guardians will try to leg out some infield singles probably, but again, Yankees top 5 defense in baseball by any metric you look at, top 1 by DRS. So I like the Yankees.
Yeah, and in terms of how I modeled it out, they're basically neck and neck with the Cardinals. Those are the top 2 defensive teams for me.